Welcome to another episode of the Attic Fables podcast. At Attic Fables, I tell interesting stories to help motivate you to live a better life. Today's story tells us that if we want to go in the right direction, we have to choose the right destination. The story goes like this. A young boy and his little sister skipped down the road on their way to town. Their mother was planning on baking some cookies and needed some sugar, so she sent her children to town to buy some sugar so that she could do the baking. The boy told his sister he knew a shortcut through the woods, and so they left the road and took the path through the woods. They were having so much fun under the green trees and walking down the path, and then they came to a fork in the road. And the little sister asked the brother, "Oh, which way should we go?" Suddenly from behind them, they heard a voice say, "That depends on where you want to go." The two children, startled, quickly turned to see an old man sitting on a rock that they didn't see earlier. He had been so quiet and so still. And there he was, sitting on this rock. "Well," the old man asked impatiently, "don't you know where you want to go?" The boy drew himself up and tried to be strong and tall and brave. "We want to go to town," he said. "If you want to go in this direction," the old man replied, pointing to the right, "you'll get to a town. And if you want to go in the other direction," the old man said, pointing to the left, "you'll get to a town in that direction." "So," the old man said, "I guess you can go either way." The boy thought for a moment, unsure of what to do. Then he had an idea. He asked the old man, "Do you know the Olson farm? The farm that has the big white house with the white fence around it?" The old man said, "Yes, I know the Olson farm." And the boy replied, "Well, we want to go to the town where the road leads to the Olson house. That's our house and that's where we live." The old man looked at the boy and smiled. "Well, then you want to go to the right and take this path. This path will lead to the town where there's a road that goes to the Olson house." The boy and his sister ran through the woods back to the town and got the sugar and made their way back home. Later that week, the boy was with some friends, and the friends planned to do something the boy didn't want to do. He knew that it wasn't right. He knew that they planned to do something wrong, and the boy didn't want to do that. But he didn't want to lose his friends, and so he felt like he had two choices. He could choose to do what his friends wanted, which would be wrong, or he could choose to not do what they wanted and do what was right. "Which way do I go?" he thought to himself. And then he remembered the words of the man in the woods. It depends on where you want to go. It depends on your destination. Where do you want to end up? Jesus' disciples faced a similar situation. After walking with Jesus for more than a year, the disciples were faced with a tough decision. Some of the things that Jesus was saying were difficult to follow. Many of Jesus' disciples had left him. Only his 12 apostles were still there. And Jesus looked at them and said, "Well, which way are you going to go? Which direction are you going to go in?" And then he gave them some help by saying, "Where do you want to end up? What's your destination?" Jesus' apostles knew what the right choice was. If they wanted to go in the right direction, they had to follow Jesus. Maybe you've come to a similar fork in the road. You feel pulled in two directions. You don't know which path to take. Remember the words of the man in the woods. It depends on where you want to go. What path you take depends on what's at the end of that path. What's the destination? Where is each path eventually going to lead you? The direction you take depends on where you want to go. I'm Steve Lorenz, and I'm just trying to choose the right path. I hope that you've enjoyed today's episode of the Attic Fables podcast, and I just want to leave you with these words. No matter who you are, no matter where you're from, no matter what you've done, always remember, God loves you.